So I want to record some kind of off the cuff comments about this issue of men sort of. This is not going to be an incel recording, but just sort of. There's been a lot written about how men are kind of falling behind on one level. One of the interesting things I read the other day is that. And this is not a universally true thing, but just sort of maybe like statistically true or true in the average, maybe not to the individual, but that men like to relate to each other shoulder to shoulder around a task rather than sort of in face-to-face interview conversational mode. And that got me thinking about essentially purpose. I've been having a ton of fun studying Unity, game development, game engineering, VR engineering, and I'm not exactly sure what the sort of end goal of that work is in terms of like overarching purpose. But the practice of learning something and being able to apply it. So I'm not just like learning something wrote about Unity Game Engine. I'm actually learning something and then being able to apply it and extend it and build stuff with it. That kind of learning, even absent like a larger purpose, can give you a sense of purpose. I think about like in the 70s, like this is before my time, but in the 70s when guys used to work on vehicles or stuff like that in their driveway, or like family members I have wood shops and all like that. The thing I want to say about that though is that, so stick with me for a second, I want to make an analogy, which is potential energy is, if you lift a heavy mass up into the air, sorry for the emote, you lift a heavy mass into the air, there's this potential for it to generate energy as it falls. So when I think about that learning, that learning with the possibility of applying it, I think of that as like potential GDP on some level. Like, there's this other conversation about, the U.S. is so in debt, et cetera, but that learning is kind of potential utility. It's potential. The thing I wanted to just add to that is if you're participating in a community, even if it's Twitch or Discord or you're creating content for YouTube or whatever, if you're kind of leveling up that potential energy through learning and through application, you're involuntarily elevating the level of the conversation in the communities that you participate in. And that is itself a realization of that potential energy, right? It is converting that learning and that applied learning into real GDP, in the sense that those conversations, even if you're not, currently employed, or if you're not, making money off your YouTube channel or whatever, if you're having if you're elevating the level of the conversation, you may be informing somebody that actually is directly converting it into sales or product development or whatever. So that's my sort of, I don't know if that's a rant, but that's my dissertation on sort of like purpose, or devoid of overarching purpose, at least learning that has the potential to be applied, and what that does to human status and human thriving, particularly with respect to the communities that we participate in.